cried. I kept crying in the first 6 months I came here. We always had this issue where if you want to know the news, you always have to listen to conventional TV, and it used to be in English. It's a language barrier for you to understand what they're saying.
You talk about stuff like taxes, immigration, and mortgages. So why did you think those topics were important?
Because people were taking advantage of our community. I felt like our community is being used. Part of it is because they don't know the law, they don't know the rules. So my point was, I want to teach my community everything, every secret they need to know about.
Through these years that you've been covering, what have you learned about us?
Okay, like this.
Now, what does America mean to you? Okay, interesting. Does it hurt when people question your intentions?
Do you have a country that pay you? Do you have an organization that pay you?
Have you been offered money?
Oh, you want to talk about it?
Let's talk about it.
Recently, during election, we got offered big amount, and I got called from Trump campaign, the ones that used to work on the Middle Eastern and Arab part. My response was, no, we're not gonna do it. So they tried to offer us like a big amount so we can maybe sway us.
What does that teach you about yourself?
That's a tough question, man. Probably this is one of the first time I say it, but
one big issue the immigrant community has gone through is the language barrier, obviously. And especially when it comes to the older generation, the people who just immigrated here, they find a rough time consuming news, understanding what's happening around them. And that's very unfortunate. It's very difficult for you to live in a place where you feel like you're kind of isolated and you can't participate in conversations and you're not educated on interest rates or the real estate market or taxes, accounting. And here's where Hussein comes into play. Hussein created this network called the Whatsup Media Network. And he has accumulated hundreds of thousands of subscribers and followers and tens of millions of views. He has become a voice for those people who have the language barrier. He kind of works as a translator between the mainstream media and the news to these immigrants that are having problems understanding what's going on around them. And this was a conversation that talked about Hussein's difficulty when he moved to the United States, how he wanted to go into a certain career path and had to veer off, and he eventually found himself in this media world. This conversation has some serious talk about identity and how we look at ourselves and the countries that we live in. Now, before we start, I have one request for you. If you enjoy this podcast at all, if this podcast brings you any types of value, it would mean the world if you hit the subscribe button, like this video, comment what you think, comment your thoughts, and I promise that I will do my best to make this the best podcast it can possibly be. And with that being said, let's get the show started.
Welcome aboard Middle East
والمتوجهة إلى طيران الشرق الأوسط يرحب بمدينة القدس العربية.
Hussein, I like to start this off with self-introduction always, People probably know that you have a news network, Whatsup Media, but I'm interested when the cameras turn off and you go home and you look in the mirror, who is that person?
يعني I like to thank you first for inviting me to be on your podcast. I like to be known as that family person. So I like to think of myself as a son, husband, father, brother, because family is first, to be honest with you, for me. On a professional level, when I look at myself, many people call me the news guy. So I like that thing, you know what I mean? And I like to see myself as a public servant too. Someone that basically, whatever knowledge he has, he tries to share with people.
How did you end up here?
In the US?
Yeah.
Student visa.
Really?
So when I applied, it was a joke. I didn't want to come. I was so comfortable in Lebanon.
How old were you?
17.
Oh, okay.
So I was still in high school, transitioning to university, Lebanese university in Beirut, Al-Hadas.
I went to that one.
I started there, and I was so involved in student clubs. So anyone that I used to tell them I applied to the US and I'm gonna go to the US, they used to laugh at me. They didn't believe me. I didn't believe myself, and I'm gonna come to the US because I didn't want to. But I applied. I got the acceptance from here. Then I did an appointment in the US Embassy in Aukar, and there were like 15 people there. applying for student visa. Everyone was studying the questions and trying to perfect their answers, and I'm coming just يعني I didn't even look up anything or search anything. I went inside, I answered the questions, and he told me everything is good. We're gonna approve you. We're just gonna do some background check. Everyone else out of the 15, none of them got who studied and prepared and did the research, they didn't get the visa. I got the visa. It took them like 7 months for them to do the background check. Somebody with the same name was doing some terrible stuff here, so it took them longer. But I came as an F1 visa in January 2008.
Wow.
Yeah.
How does that feel like?
It was tough, to be honest with you. When I came, I had my 2 sisters here.
Oh, they were already here.
But they're married, they have kids, so they cannot dedicate so much time to you, but still they helped a lot, Sarah, to be honest with you. But it was tough because you have to work, make money, and at the same time study. And when you come as an F1 visa, you have to be a full-time student. Otherwise, you lose your status.
Yeah, you can't work.
No, and the good thing about me, I was able to get a social security because I worked at the Henry Ford College.
Okay.
So they were able to get me the social security number, and they allow you to work 20 hours off campus.
Okay.
And then I did something called hardship because the situation in Lebanon was terrible, and you tell them your parents are not able to send you money, so they allow you to work even more hours off campus. And I used to take off spring, summer, and work even more. Just so I get I'll be able to pay for expenses, college expenses.
But like, so it starts as a joke, but then you get on a plane, and then what are you thinking on the plane?
Reality hits you. I cried. I kept crying in the first 6 months I came here.
Really?
Nobody knows. Probably this is one of the first time I say it, but every time there is a Eid, there is a special occasion, I used to cry. It's not easy. And the first 6 months to a year, I kept telling myself, I'm going back. That subhanAllah, I'm still here.
What was the hardest part of that first phase?
Not having your parents, your family, your friends. I'm a social person. Even when I was in Lebanon, I'm very involved with the family. I'm that family person that always, around my mom, my dad, my brothers. I have a lot of friends. So not having that emotional support around you, it's very tough.
Is there a scene that sticks out to you in those first 6 months? Because I can relate to that, the first 6 months being very, very difficult when you first move here. But is there like a scene that comes to mind when you think about those first 6 months?
I remember during Eid, there were Eid al-Fitr, in the first 6 months. And, you call your parents, you talk to them, but it doesn't feel the same, to be honest with you. So you sit by yourself and you cry. But, it wasn't easy. First 6 months to a year, because you have to adapt. You have to make some money. For example, in the first 6 months, I didn't have a car. So I made some friends at Henry Ford College, and one of them is a Yemeni friend. And for 6 months, he drove me I used to live at my sister's house for the first 6 months. So I used to go with him to college every morning for the first 6 months. So I'm very grateful to him, to be honest with you. And then, so first 6 months, I didn't have a car. I didn't have a driver license. I had like an international driver license, but I didn't have the money to buy a car. So I started working bits, sometimes, small projects until I was able to get the social security number. And alhamdulillah, I started saving some money.
Did your parents know that you were struggling like that? Did you tell them?
They sent some money with me when I came, but I paid, for college with.
No, like struggling emotionally. Did you
No, I didn't tell anybody, Sarahatan. I didn't tell anybody. Nobody knew about it.
Why?
I'm very conservative when it comes to emotion. That's bad, but I don't express much when it comes to emotion. Until I got married, sometimes I do, but still, I try to keep it to myself.
It's hard telling your parents that, because first of all, were they like supportive of the move to America?
They want the best for you.
Okay.
And they sent me here to be a doctor. So they were very proud of it. You know what I mean? We're sending him there. We're supporting him because they did. they saved money too, and they sent the money with me so I can pay for classes for the first semester. So they sacrificed too for me to be here.
Then it was probably a difficult conversation telling them that you were not going to become a doctor.
I think sorry. I think, and I always say, up until probably 2021, I'm a failure for them, probably, despite all the success I had.
2021, so right now.
Yeah, 3 years, 4 years ago, you know what I mean? They still have it, like, you know, it hurts, or, you know, you didn't become a doctor. But it wasn't easy. It wasn't my choice, to be honest with you, because in 2013, when I graduated, I took a BS in biochemistry and chemical biology. I volunteered. It used to be Oakwood Hospital, then it became Bowman, then Corwell Health. I volunteered with them for 2 years, different clinics. So my resume was ready to apply. But then when I graduated in 2013, I didn't have a green card. And you cannot go to a medical school if you don't have a green card. You cannot get a loan. You cannot do anything. So I had to do like my backup plan, which is I took like a OBT visa for 12 months, I think, and then I extended it for another 5 months. And I worked with BP on the hopes that I'm going to come back and do medical school. But then I started my first company, Educare Student Services, the learning center and the tutoring services. And subhanAllah, it took off. So in 2016, I quit my job and I, you know, expanded Educare more and never came back to do my MCAT. Still, some of my cousins and stuff, Arabin, like close people, they call me doctor until now.
Yeah.
But no, I never did go to medical school.
How do you kind of fall into like opening up your own news channel? Because I don't think like that's something that you said you didn't have it in the back of your mind.
No.
So it's kind of something I feel like you just fall into it somehow.
I like to share when I know with people. So I used to always be the guy that, you know, the family and friends, they ask me what's going on. Since 2009, I got involved with nonprofits. So I did from 2009 until 2016 with the Lebanese American Hajj Club. It's now LAHC. So I got involved with community work, community service, providing information and stuff. And from time to time, I used to write articles in the Press and Guide, other Patch, Dearborn Patch. I used to be their digital mayor. 2011, I think I did a small show. It's called MC Gold TV. It's a web TV, IPTV. So I had like small experiences with media.
Yeah.
But then in 2017, we always had this issue where if you want to know the news, you always have to listen to conventional TV, like big news organization like CNN, Fox News, and it used to be in English. So for many people, that used to be a language barrier. Even for me, when I came here, it's a language barrier for you to understand what they're saying. And whoever was doing news in Arabic, they used to talk about the Middle East. They didn't used to talk about what's going on here in the U.S. And personally, I believe what happens here impacts us even more than anything else. So I'm like, we need to have news page or whatever that talks about the U.S. but in Arabic. And it needs to be independent. It needs to be impartial. And it needs to speak the language that people here understand. That's why I don't speak, Arabic Fusha, the proper Arabic. I speak the plain language, the white language, we call it. And people needed that. When we started Jaafar, Whatsup Media, and I think it was a lesson for me, and I don't mind sharing it. When we started in English, so it was a mistake on my end. So we started in English, and probably we were trying to copy something that was established already. And when you copy someone, you're never going to succeed. Unless you start something your own, people will always go to the original one.
You have to stand out.
You have to stand out. Because if you're doing English, there's so many people that do it, and probably they do it better than you. You know what I mean? So once we took our own identity, our own idea, our own niche, then we took off.
The holy month of Ramadan is approaching very soon, and one thing that happens to us during the holy month is our sleeping schedules are all over the place. You start staying up a little more and sleeping in a little more as well. And a lot of times you don't know how to deal with your body during those 30 days. Now, Whoop is the only fitness wearable that I've ever seen that has Ramadan integrated into its system. And what that means is when you're journaling what happened in your day on the Whoop app, there's this switch and it says, are you observing Ramadan? And when you turn that switch on, the Whoop automatically takes that data and tells you how your body is performing during that holy month. And what that does is it helps you regulate and find ways to make your body feel the best and not compromise on your energy levels or on your health during the holy month. And because you're a listener of this podcast, Whoop wants you to try this out for free. You go to join.whoop.com/notfromhere and you get the first 30 days for free. So you can try Whoop out for the entire month of Ramadan. And by the end of it, if you like it, you keep it. And if you don't, you can return it, no strings attached. Again, that's join.whoop.com/notfromhere to get started today. And now, back to the episode. So first, all that you were saying right now are big claims to have when you don't have anything, right? Now you can look back at it and seeing where the network is today, you can be like, yeah, I had this idea, 1, 2, 3. In that moment, it wasn't like that. It was in a way you against the world, you against like these massive, big news outlets that don't tell the truth. That
they have more money than you. They have more power than you. They
control the media.
Exactly.
So, in that moment, a lot of people probably did say, "Man, we do need something like that's in Arabic."
Yeah.
But not a lot of people would even attempt to try.
Definitely.
So, what made you attempt to try?
It's tough, and I like challenges. It was tough in the beginning, and I don't say that we succeeded right away. And I don't want to say we failed. We learned. You know what I mean? So 2017 to 2019, I think it was a learning experiences for us because not too many people used to listen to us. In the beginnings, I used to, let's say when I make a show or radio, because I used to do some radio shows too. I used to call my wife, my friends, my parents, call on the radio, write a comment, try to share it. So I tried to use my network, the closest network to me, so we can show like that we have some people that watch us or interact with us. Mm-hmm. Because in the beginning, nobody knows about you. So from 2017 to 2019, we really struggled. But then in 2019, once we knew that we gained some traction, people started knowing our name, they started listening to some of the shows that I used to do. Then we started expanding. We started, trying to make more shows, trying to bring better guests, focus on the topic a lot that we talked about. So from that learning experience, the 2 years and the struggles and that period that not a lot of people watched us, we were able to, I think, create something that in 2019 it started to be more popular.
How old were you at the time?
2019?
No, yeah, like that period, 2016, 2017 till 2019.
2000.
Like how old were you?
I'm 88, so I'm 29. 29 in 2017, right? 29. Okay. 29 years old.
See, at 29, didn't you think that, man, not a lot of people are watching. I have a wife, I have family. I have 2
kids, I have 2 daughters.
You have 2 daughters, you have to make this work for them. You need to provide. Like, did you not think about quitting then?
Okay, let me give you, and I think, anyone that asks me, I'll tell them, this is something you really need to pay attention to when you're starting something, especially in the media field.
Okay.
In the beginning, you cannot make money out of it. You have to put money into it. Mm-hmm. We were talking, me and you, about it before we started. So for me, having another company that was successful, that was making money, and having the support of your family and your wife, was very important in me being able to have the time and allocate some of the funds to start this, because you have to pay in the first 2 to 3 years. You're not going to get money back. You know what I mean? Now maybe it's a bit faster. You're able to cut that period from 2 to 3 years to maybe 6 months to 1 year if you're very successful. But back then you needed 2 to 3 years to start at least paying for your expenses. But
you knew that?
Oh, 100%.
Okay. So you're going into it knowing that first 2-3 years I'm not making money.
100%. And the other thing, I didn't have experience in media. I don't know how to film. I don't know how to edit videos. I don't know how to take a picture. I have no background whatsoever, like in cameras and broadcasting, because we used to go live. So you need to have some experience. How you're gonna broadcast? How you're gonna go live? What softwares are available? So YouTube was my was my teacher. If I'm good. So I used to go to YouTube, watch a lot of videos. So I taught myself because I hired I hired 2 people. We started with one, then I had another one as a contract. But if you're starting a company that you don't understand how you can do the job of one of your team members, it's not going to succeed. So your company has to be immune to any changes, especially when it comes to your team members. If somebody steps out, you need to be able to step in and take their job.
So you're saying basically to even hire people in the first place, you're going to have to know how to do all the work yourself.
Exactly.
Okay.
Otherwise, they know that you're not knowledgeable, and they're going to take advantage of that.
Okay.
They're going to say, oh, you're going to need me. You need me. So you cannot not fire me, but they're going to ask for more money. They're going to dictate terms. But if you are knowledgeable and you're able to take their position, they're going to know if I leave, he's going to take over. He knows how to do it. So that played a big role, to be honest with you.
So you talk about stuff like taxes and immigration and mortgages. Why did you pick those topics in particular? Why did you think those topics were important?
Because people were taking advantage of our community. I was taken advantage of from the bank when I first opened my account when I came here. They put me on high interest rate. They put terms that I didn't know exist. Variable interest rate, which is really bad sometimes. So I felt like our community is being used. Part of it is because they don't know the law, they don't know the rules, and not too many people بيخافوا Allah, like we say in Arabic, like fear God. So my point was I wanna teach my community every secret they need to know about. So they're able, whenever they go, if they want to buy a house, if they want to do their taxes, whatever transaction they're gonna do, they have background, they have a knowledge, so they can ask the right question and nobody can take advantage of them. So, and alhamdulillah, I'm seeing that. Like when I went to Texas 5-6 months ago, Hajji, her and her kids, she came up to me. She's like, because of you, we bought 2 houses so far.
Wow.
And we were renting. I swear to God. And I have the video. I can show it to you. Because of the shows. Those shows are making a difference in people's life.
That makes you feel good.
Oh, yeah. It assures you that what you're doing is right. The mission that you're claiming, you started this, so you can teach people and share your knowledge is the right mission.
What was the earliest recognition of, people are listening, people are watching?
During COVID.
Okay.
During COVID, we played a very big role, to be honest with you. I mean, we took a risk on our health because we never closed the day, vice versa. We worked even more, and we used to do like in-person shows despite, people were recommending like 6 feet. But I think we played the role of a bridge between knowledge and the community, between government officials, health officials, and the community, because we didn't have any information in Arabic. If you go back to it, all of the information were in English. So people wanted to know, is there a cure? When they came up with the vaccine, is the vaccine safe? Then they did those stimulus checks. And we used to get the information even before CNN, they used to put them. So people saw back then that this organization, this media page is, they're trusted. They're able to get their information even sometime faster than conventional TV. So I think COVID played a big role with us, to be honest with you. And we expanded even bigger in COVID. I mean, we took a risk, but it worked.
It was worthwhile.
It was.
Because you're playing a translator from
True.
American media and American news into Arabic.
Sure.
And that's very niche.
Yeah.
Was that on purpose? Yeah, that was on purpose.
It was
that
on
was
purpose.
The mission.
It was from the beginning. The mission was to listen to the news because I'm a news guy. My wife calls me, you're an old man, because all the time at the house I have the news. I'm listening to the news, but the difference is I listen to more than one side, because you cannot get the whole story just from listening to CNN or just from listening to Fox. You gotta listen to Fox, CNN, NBC News, read. I have subscriptions. It was Washington Post, New York Times, Reuters. Like, we pay, just so we can get some stories, because some stories are exclusive. You cannot, read them unless you pay. So so I read a lot, and I always tell that to our viewers. Like, you don't have to sit there for hours, researching and trying to find something. I'll do the research, and I'll summarize the news for you.
When you're spending this much time reading the news and consuming the news, do you kind of pick up on patterns on how you don't want the news to be presented? If that makes sense. So what you're doing is you're not stealing the news. It's basically what you're doing is research, right? You're going on all these different news outlets. You're seeing the good and the bad. You're listening in on those channels that are lying, that are not are just telling one side of the story.
Sometimes they're portraying you in a very bad way. But
yes, they're portraying you in a very bad way. You're taking that and then you're doing it your way.
So I don't talk about everything. I see what could benefit the community and what should the community know about. Like, for example, now, when Trump took office, immigration was a big topic. Who's going to be deported? Is he going to stop giving, citizenship, like birthright citizenship? So those were like very important topic for people to know about. But let's say someone having a festival and whatever, we're not going to talk about it, or like a car race or something, So I try to choose the topic that I think it's going to add something to the viewer. It's going to add to their knowledge. If they have a fear about something, it's going to answer that fear, tone down some of the rhetoric that's happening. So I choose my topics very carefully. I know what the community want to know about. They want to know about houses. Is the interest rate going to go high or low? Home prices, are they going up or down? Are we going to have another housing crisis like 2008? How is the economy doing? Is the government sending us more money, or are they going to take money? Taxes, immigration is a big topic. Even like weather, when there is storms and stuff, when is the storm coming? What's going to happen? So I think this is probably some of the big topics that the community want to know about. So I try to keep it to things that the community want to know about. Election, that's another thing. The one thing that basically we have to look at it as people watch us nationally. Despite that we are headquarters in Dearborn, we cannot a lot of time talk too much local news, because you have people watching you from Texas, from California, from New Jersey. So we try every now and then, especially if there is something major, to cover local stuff. But you have to basically choose your topics to cover as much area in the U.S. as possible, not being, just for one area.
You might have seen this can next to me and next to Hussein during this conversation. And I'll put this in very simple terms. A high quality cola alternative that donates 100% of the proceeds to the people in need in Palestine. Like, what more is there to say? A high quality product that doesn't compromise on taste at all. This should be a staple in every single one of your households. The company's called Palestine Drinks. They just started selling in the US. And in my opinion, they are the future of soft drinks and beverages, especially in the immigrant community. Localized.
Yeah.
Like, if me as Jaafar, I want to learn how to consume news properly, right? I want to, after this conversation, I want to go out through that door and understand in what ways can I find actual news and the proper news. How do you think?
For me, what worked good is on the iPhone. There is an app called News, and you can select which organizations you want to see news from. So for me, I select like 5 sources.
What are they?
Fox News, CNN, NBC News, Reuters, and AP News.
Okay.
Those are 5 of the main ones that I always look at, and they're very reputable. Probably, either you agree with some of the stuff or not. I mean, they're one of the biggest organizations when it comes to news in the US and nationally. So a couple of times a day, before I sleep, I check. First time I do in the morning, also when I wake up, this is the first thing I do. I check the news if there's something going on. And I have an assistant with me right now that basically prepares some of the news. She sent me like a summary of 5 things that, I should know about. and I pick if there is something that we should do a short video or a longer video to talk about it, because we do different forms on news. We do like posts in Arabic and English, and I do reels and shorts. That's another form of news. And then I do the long videos, the long form videos. So we discuss, me and the team, what should go where. But for me, if you want to consume news, I think you can start with that app. I think it's perfect.
Okay. How do you know which news is fake though?
You gotta check your sources. I always say that. If you only see it in one place and you don't find it in another place, we don't talk about it. I'm like that. Even if it's something I know it's gonna get us views, I kind of smell now if a video is gonna get a views or not, because it's all about views right now. But for me, if it's only I found it in a website and I look at the website, if it's not a good website, I don't talk about it. I need to find it at least on 2 different sources, 2 different websites, 2 different news organizations.
Through these years that you've been covering let's call it the immigrant community, what have you learned about us? Or like, what kind of problems are we really going through?
Despite our differences and how much people try to make us look different, we have so much in common. We have so much in common. We are one community. Despite our different background, our different dialect, our different religions sometimes, or sects, but we are really, really alike. Like we said, we are ummi wahdi, like we are one ummah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I found out that we really look alike, we think alike, we have the same traditions, the same values. There's minor, differences here and there, but they're nothing, to be honest with you. So what brings us together is more than the things that put us aside.
What can launch us into the future properly? Because I think about this all the time. We're at this stage where we have a lot of good talent. This upcoming generation is good. Especially the ones that they're raised here, that understand the country, but are also very firm on their culture and their beliefs. Those are the people that really want to. I feel like those are the people that are really going to move us forward, right? But I'm wondering, what's your take on it? How do you think we can really make a difference?
Respect our differences. Because we get really offensive when we see someone doing something that we're not used to it. Why you pray this way, or why you worship this way, or why you talk this way, or why you pray this way. Okay, leave those differences aside. Once we respect each other difference, and we look at the 90% that we are common in, this is when we're gonna succeed. But lately, it's been almost a year, 2 years, we've been focusing on the 10% differences, and we're forgetting the 90% that's common between us. Once we stop looking and magnifying those differences and respecting those differences, we have to respect. If you look different than me, or talk different than me, or pray different than me, or worship different than me, or you have traditions and stuff different than me, that's fine. I have to respect you. This is who you are. This is why I don't change. Anywhere I go, I'm Hussein, the same person. That the things I do in Dearborn, I do it in New Jersey, I do it in California. I'm not gonna change so I can make you happy, and you should respect that. Once we start respecting our differences, this is when we're gonna boom and we're gonna succeed.
We almost think about it sometimes as, okay, let's say that there's Hussein, this person gives tremendous amounts of value, right? Whatever that value is. Exactly. In your case, it's media, information. You almost feel like people like to look for differences I'm not sure if it's to bring you down or to bring them a little bit up. It's weird. You don't know what they're trying to do. But they always want to try to, I think, discredit you.
Let me tell you, when it comes to Arab, to our community, especially the newcomers, many of them, they come from areas where it's they have the same background, maybe same religion, same sect, you know what I mean? So they're not using to a diverse group to be around them. They're not thinking to someone not looking like them or talking like them or praying like them. So when they see that, they see it as an outlier. That's something that's not normal. And some of them, maybe they have that mentality of I'm right and everyone else that's not doing the same thing I'm doing is wrong. And this is a wrong mentality. So it's going to take them some time to integrate in the community and understand that we live in the US, and the US is very diverse, to be honest with you. You're going to see like all religions and even non-religious, you know. You're going to see all sects, all beliefs, all opinions.
All skin colors.
Exactly.
Everything.
And you don't know how you learn from them. You have to accept the reality that you need to learn from other people. And you have to learn من المهدي إلى اللحد, from the moment you were born to the moment you die. If you don't have that mentality, you're going to struggle, to be honest with you. If you are that
person that knows everything, that thinks they know everything.
Not just that knows everything, that person that's not willing to have a discussion on your belief. You believe that your beliefs are the best, they're perfect. I don't need to learn anything else. أنا ربكم الأعلى فاعبدون. This is the bad mentality to have in the US.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a very bad mentality.
Exactly. Especially here in the US.
Yeah.
You can have it back home from where you came, from Lebanon, Syria, whatever, Iraq. But here in the US, you're going to struggle if you have that mentality.
Yeah. That's so true. And the thing about respecting each other's differences, I was having, like you hit it right on the nose. I was having this discussion with the police chief earlier this week. And we were talking about this, and I was just like gauging his thoughts on it too. And he said the exact same thing. He was like, we will move forward together when you stop caring about how the person next to you is praying.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't matter. And he described this very nice thing that him and the mayor do. And the mayor and the police chief are from different sects of Islam. And they'll go to different mosques every Friday, and they'll pray next to each other. Whether it's a Shia mosque or a Sunni mosque, they'll go and they'll both pray
this
there.
is how it should be, Jaafar.
And it's and you just see like how important it is to them to show like we really need to move.
Exactly.
Like there's powers out there that really want to chop your hand off, whether you're
There's
putting
bigger
it
stuff
down
than
when
how
you pray,
you pray, wallah.
or you put your hand on your chest, and it's crazy.
Like, look at it. I try to stay away from religious topics as much as possible. But if you want to look at Islam, because I look at our community, we are as one. And I really believe that. I don't just say that as, tacky stuff. I believe Muslims and Christians and Chaldeans and Assyrian and everyone, we are one community. We have one cause. We need to work together. But if you look at Muslims, between Shia and Sunnah, I never talk publicly. Maybe in Haiki, closed doors, we talk.
This is closed doors here.
Okay, but I always, I get asked because I travel a lot. 90% of the people I work with, I deal with, they're from the Sunni. And I go and I pray, I do Salat Jum'ah with them, you know what I mean? And I tell them, we have the same God. We have the same Prophet. We have the same book, the Quran, you know what I mean? We have the same
prayer. Yeah, we pray
have the
same
way. We have the same Kaaba. So everything that we have is in common. Doesn't matter if I put my hand like this or my hand like that. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Anything else, the main 5 things are politics for me.
Right.
The pillars of Islam, we all have them the same.
And you've gone, and that's the thing too, is you've worked with them so many times, and the politics don't come into play in those interactions that you're having with them.
Never.
So they really don't matter. Like, okay, they'll matter to you at home when you go Hussein, the way you pray, the way whatever you want to do at home, it matters there. But in those interactions with them, they really don't matter. What matters is, are you being nice to them? Are you being kind? Are you being respectful?
It's your akhlaq.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? When
exactly.
I go there,
and that's what it is with them and with everyone else.
Yeah.
So why are we fighting over a thing that doesn't matter
Exactly.
when we're interacting or when we're having this conversation? And that's, I think, what hurts the most.
To be honest, praying and worshiping, it's between you and God. You don't have the right to judge me, and I don't have the right to judge you.
Yeah.
Once we stop judging each other and leave religion to God and worshiping to God, this is when we're going to move forward. But as long as we stay, you're putting your hand down or you're putting your hand up, or why you're doing this way or praying that way, we're not going to move forward, to be honest with you. This is minimal when it comes to that stuff. It's for God to judge me, and see, am I doing things right or wrong? I might be praying wrong, but who you are to know. You know what I mean?
Do you ever get hate on the work that you do?
Yeah. Not. I mean, for the biggest part, we have so much support, but there is nothing perfect, to be honest with you. You're always gonna have some people that hate you for no reason, to be honest with you. They hate you for your success. They hate you for your popularity. They hate you because they're not gonna be able to do the things that you do. But I always try to ignore that and look at the positive stuff. But I don't ignore if there is some constructive criticism. I'm someone that likes to listen because you have to always improve. And if you stop improving, you stop living. And you will never succeed. If you feel like you perfect, like we said before, if you feel like you succeeded and you are at the top and there is nothing for you to change, you're gonna fail, to be honest with you. But I do listen to people that give me advice, and I love advice. I'm someone that tells them, please give it to me like the way how it is, how we can do things better. But I know advice from hate. Hate is not good. It's not fun. If you let it consume you, you're not gonna be able to succeed, especially when you are in the public eye. What you do, like podcast, when you do news, when you do like social media, you are prone to, to the public eye more than anybody else. And when you work in the public field, you're gonna receive negative feedback and hate. So you have to know how to deal with it, because some people, they give it too much attention, and it consumes them, and it drains them, and then they're not gonna be able to succeed and create. They're going to be stuck with thinking about the negative stuff that's being written.
Does it hurt when people question your intentions?
Okay, there's two things they question. Now it's less than before. They question sometimes the truth of what you're saying. Some people, they're not getting used to an Arabic person being independent, so they always say, oh, do you have a country that pay you? Do you have an organization that pay you? Do you have a person that pay you? So you can say the thing like they like the Democratic Party pay you, or that politician pay you or control you. So one thing is basically, are you telling the truth? They always people question that because they're not used to someone telling the truth or being independent. The other one you said integrity. Which other? No, I don't think so.
Your intentions.
Intentions. Yeah, some people think you're trying to be someone or to gain power. And I don't blame them for thinking this way, because media is power. Yeah. Media, and they call it the fourth branch of power, if I'm not mistaken. But that's not my goal. If your goal is just to gain power, people will see through you. You'll be able to lie to one person, two person, 5 people, but you're not going to be able to lie to thousands of people and millions. And lying is tough, to be honest with you. And lying is exhausting, because if you lie, you got to remember the lie, who you lied to, what was the lie about. But if you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. You're just telling the truth.
You sleep well at night?
Oh, I sleep very well.
Yeah. So no one pays you. So you're not paid by any party.
It was a struggle in the beginning. I told you. So I used to pay from my own money in the beginning. So I used to make money in Educare. And then some of the portion of that money from my learning center, it used to go to Whatsup Media. And then I opened, I told you before we started, I opened in the beginning Whatsup Media as a marketing company. So we used to do social media management, promo videos, do services for people so we can make some money, so we can pay for the things that we want to do and produce without having to take money from someone, so they can have impact on the thing that we are saying. And slowly, when we started making money from Whatsup Media, in a very good way, not in a bad way, then I stopped doing the marketing part, and I just focused on doing the news. And anyone that works in the social media and news now, or they have some knowledge, they know that you are able to make money from social media in different ways, whether it's through AdSense, sponsorship, or ads. And you're able to stay independent and not rely on anybody else.
Have you been offered money?
Oh, you want to talk about it?
Let's talk about it.
More than one occasion. 2 times from big wealthy people. They offered us over 100K. They said they want nothing in return, but definitely when they pay you 100K, definitely they need something in return. And recently during election, we got offered big amount. I was in San Antonio, Texas, and I'm gonna say the details. So if someone wanna check, they can check with my team member. And I had one of my team member with me. When I travel, I usually take 1 to 2 people with me. And we were traveling from Houston to San Antonio in the car. And I got called from one of, we wanna say the campaign?
Go for it.
One of Trump campaign, the ones that used to work on the Middle Eastern and Arab part, and they wanted to do marketing and advertisement with us. And my response was, no, we're not gonna do it. So they tried to offer us like a big amount so we can maybe like sway us. So the amount I remember was around 50K, 50,000 just to advertise. And I remember we were like probably 3 weeks from election, so there is not much time, but still they offering you like a big amount.
Very crucial time though.
Very crucial time. So what I did, it was a tough decision. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's a big amount, 50K. It's not easy. I made a poll on the page. I did a short video, and I went to my base, and I was very open with them. I think this is what's making us successful. Is I'm very like open page with those who follow us. So that was a big decision, and I didn't want to take this decision by myself or with the team. So I made a video on the page. We put it on our social media, and I said, look, we are getting approached by a presidential candidate, and they want to advertise with us. What do you guys think? If we do it, we're going to give the opportunity to all candidates. And my team, they're like, what if the response is no? I'm like, we're not going to do it if the response is no. But you're going to lose 50,000? I'm like, yeah. And 70% of the people that, wrote comments or participated in the poll that we did said, you shouldn't do it. And I made a video, like a follow-up video, and I said, we're not going to do it. So we didn't do it.
What does that teach you about yourself?
I think there is sometimes tests for you. I think this is one of the tests for your integrity, for your professionalism, and for your independence. And either you fail or you succeed the test. So far, I believe we succeeded. So far. Hopefully, we can keep the course. But it gets tougher. You know what I mean? Especially when you have influence, when you have power, that we talked about it. Because people listen to you, people trust you. And that trust, it's so hard to gain and so easy to lose. So I try as much as possible to not do a faux pas so I don't lose that trust. Because once you lose that trust, to be honest, especially in media, you're nothing. You just become like anybody else.
You have a lot of responsibility on you. Anyone in media, you have a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, believe me, the community listen to us. I've seen it firsthand. Like, I'll give you one funny example, you know what I mean? Like, just so you can see how much people trust us, those who follow us. So one time I made a video about an eye drop that's infected or something, you know what I mean? It had a recall on it. And I went to At-Tayyib to eat with my family. So one guy, he came up to me, he's like, are you Hussein Hisham? I'm like, yeah, something wrong. So his wife came, he's like, I'm a doctor. And I got the eye drop for my wife, and I told her to take it. And she's like, no, I'm not going to take it. Hussein Hisham said there is a recall on it. He's like, I'm a doctor. She's not believing me. She's believing you. And I see that like in many cases, to be honest with you. Yeah. So people trust you, man, because they know you do your research. They know you're
honest.
You're honest. Yeah. So
that's
it's hard.
Blessing.
It's hard to keep. It's a blessing, but it's very tough too, man. You have to be responsible with it.
Mm. Is that Trump campaign incident one of the times where it was difficult?
It was difficult. That's why I went back to my base, because, I mean, you're refusing 50K, you know what I mean? You can do stuff with 50K, you know what I mean? And 50K, if we accepted with Trump, the Harris campaign was willing to match that number. Mm. And I have those in text messages, you know what I mean? So you're talking about 100K in 3 weeks. People sit sometimes for a year to make 100K, right?
Right.
So that's a huge test, to be honest with you.
Yeah. But look, the way I think about it is it's a huge test, but the positive sign that comes out of it in my head is you've built something worth 50K in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
No, I was
It's-
happy. I wasn't sad.
Yeah.
You know?
So it's like, we're going to turn down this money, but hey, this is our potential. This is what we can do.
yeah.
Right? So like these numbers shouldn't surprise you anymore after this. Like, yeah, this is what this type of media is worth,
100%.
you know? And it's funny because you started it because the Arab voice wasn't there in the
Yeah.
news. And now, alhamdulillah, it grew to a point where the president wants to use this small platform
Yeah.
to communicate, you know? So that's like another sign, like, okay,
Alhamdulillah.
this is working, you know?
It is.
Like a presidential campaign is looking at this media outlet and saying, he'll reach the people that we want them to reach. Let's go. And it's independent, and you started it, and
It's a responsibility because you are the bridge between, you know, politics and the community, resources and the community, organizations and the community. So you have to be responsible with that power that you have. You cannot let anybody use it in a bad way or a negative way, and you gotta yourself know how to use it. So when I stood out in the election and I said we're not gonna vote for Trump or Harris, you had to be responsible for this, and you have to own it. Because people in the community, it made a movement. You know, we were the first to say we're not gonna vote for either. We were the first. If you go in dates, we were the first in the U.S. that said Trump doesn't deserve our vote and Harris doesn't deserve our vote, and we're not gonna go for a third candidate. We're gonna have a protest vote. And my video was being shared on social media, but also they took clips from it and they shared it on WhatsApp, on messages. Like I traveled during that period, and anywhere I go, they're like, we listened to your message and we're gonna follow what you said, because all of them betrayed us. So we need to, you know, protest them and get back at them. So now you have that power to make a change. You have to be responsible with that power.
yeah. It would have been hypocritical of you being the first to say, no,
Yes.
we're not going to do it. And then you would cave for the money and be like,
Exactly.
yeah, we had to take it,
Yeah.
you know?
That's why I had to go back to. I didn't want to take that decision by myself. There is many moments that, you know, there is decisions that are tough. Usually I do khiri. Sheikh Muhammad Al-Halabi, he's my go-to. So anytime I'm lost, I cannot make a clear-cut decision. I always go back to God and I ask God to help, صراحة, whether through prayer or through khiri.
If you didn't start Whatsup Media Network, what did you think you would be doing now?
That's a tough question, man. I mean, I like business. I like helping people. So probably maybe investing in some stuff, maybe doing real estate. Uh-huh.
Very different.
Yeah, very different. I like real estate. I mean, I still do it on the side sometimes. What I teach people, I try to do it myself too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But probably, yeah, I like real estate. But I don't know if I think I would have done that. But it has to be something that benefit in certain way. Maybe non-profit. Maybe non-profit, yeah. Because I tried to do non-profit when I left, but the problem with me and non-profit is I don't know how to take money. I always put money, you know?
Yeah.
But when I started a non-profit in 2018, whatever extra money we have from my companies, we used to put them in it. Like I didn't used to ask for donations or stuff. So,
Yeah.
so it's costly for me.
Hussein, do you feel like you suffer from an identity crisis between here and Lebanon?
No.
How do you see yourself?
Like if you know who you are, and you know you are Arab, you are Muslim, and you're unapologetic about it. That's gonna be very important, because some people, they try to change their name, they try to change something just so they can blend with others. For me, I wanted people to respect me the way how I am.
Right.
Even sometimes when they write my name wrong or they say it wrong, I try to correct it to them in a nice way, because I want them to respect my identity, for me to respect them. It's back and forth. It's not one way. So I think this is where some of the Arab, they have an issue, is they try to blend, and once they're trying to blend, they try to demolish their identity. But we have a rich identity, we have a rich culture, rich history. You should be proud of it. You shouldn't be deleting it or blending with losing yourself. So I don't think personally I had an issue with identity, because I always knew who I am. and I'm proud of who I am. And but that doesn't mean that I don't learn from other people, and I don't try to learn of other people. I always go to the church. I always talk to priests. I always try to read about other religions or other sects. Why not? Knowledge is very important. When you learn about the others, you can respect them more. But when you are like enclaved,
You're closed-minded.
enclosed, you're not gonna be able like to talk to other people.
Then what does America mean to you?
Home.
Okay, interesting.
Wallah, it's home. America was home to me even before I took my green card. I struggled in the beginning and it was tough emotionally. But then when you take your driver license, you start driving, you start, making friends, working, interacting with the community, because I started nonprofit in 2009. That helped a lot, to be honest with you. I've seen how much this country has given me. In this country, as much as you give, as much as you take. Back home, it's tough. Back home, you give, and if they give you, they give you back a little. You know what I mean? And it's not a fair game. Here, it's a fair game. You compete with honesty. You compete in a fair and square game, and as much as you give, you're gonna get back. And they respect you, and they treat you for who you are. Sometimes there's flaws here and there, but if we're looking at the model and the picture as a whole, we're way better than anywhere else. So I consider this place home, and I consider Dearborn home. So anywhere I fly, when I come back and the plane lands, alhamdulillah, I'm home.
Yeah.
I still love Lebanon and still love Ain al-Tini, and it is home. But also I believe this is our home too. And we have to deal with it this way, by the way.
What you're saying is very interesting, because I say this all the time. It's, if you had to pick one place in the world to try to get better at life, America has to be the answer.
Mm.
It's the only place where you got fair and square opportunity.
100%. I lived in Lebanon until I was 17, I think, or 18. I don't remember, but did you live in Lebanon?
Until I moved here 6 years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah. I went to the Lebanese university, like you said.
And I applied for the army in Lebanon. There's 5 steps.
Mm.
I did the physicals, I did the sports, mental, and then those supposed to be the hardest one. And then I got to the interview part. All they ask me is, what's your name? Because they have a list. It's a prepared list. Are you chosen by whoever they want you? If your name is not there, it doesn't matter how much points you got on those 4 tests. They're not going to take you.
Mm.
So all what they asked me is, what's your name? I told them Hussein Hashim. قالوا لي Allah معك. They said, go.
Wow.
This is when I decided to leave, by the way.
That was your moment.
That was my moment. Because I was trying to give Lebanon another chance. Once that happened, I said, I cannot be here. Imagine you do all of that work, and I'm from Ba'a, so, and the place where we used to do the test for the army is in Beirut. It's like an hour and a half. So my dad drove me, and supposedly I was supposed to be in. So my dad left, you know what I mean? Because they told him he's gonna be in. And then I went for the test, for the interview, and all what they asked me is literally, what's your name? And I said Hussein Hashim. They said, I remember the exact words, Allah Ma'ak.
Man.
Yeah.
It stings because, like you said, you have so much love and so much... like you went down to Lebanon right after the war ended. It doesn't... Like you saying that America's home doesn't shy away from the love you have
No,
for,
I love
for
Lebanon.
there.
I was in Middle East Halla in January, and I had a 3 days break from Dubai. I reserved my ticket and I went to Lebanon. Despite the situation in Lebanon, when I went in January, it was still terrible, to be honest with you. But I still went, and I went to Jnoub.
It stings that you were actually discriminated against in your own country. But
I wouldn't say discriminated against. You weren't given a fair chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They didn't look at your abilities, at your skills. They just looked who you know. That's a problem in Lebanon, by the way. It's wasta, who you know. You know what I mean? And if you don't know anybody, if you're just relying on your skills and your talent, you'll never succeed in Lebanon. There's some exceptions, but the exceptions are very little. And that's haram. That's the difference between Lebanon and the US. In the US, you play fair and square, you compete, and if you're good at it, your skills are good, your talent are good, you're putting the time, you're putting the effort, you're gonna succeed.
Yeah. I was at a career fair last week, and one of the students was asking me something about, like I was telling them that I had moved here, and they were asking me like, why are you so passionate like about doing this? And I told them because like you're in America and you don't understand the privilege that you have here, because in this part of the world you just have to work hard.
Exactly.
That you only have to do one thing here, and it's that, and it's work hard, and everything else will fall into place after you work hard.
Exactly.
And back home, unfortunately, it's not the case. You can work as hard as you can. Sometimes it'll work, but a lot of the times it won't as well. And
sadly,
yeah, and we take that for granted. And I agree with you. I really love this country. It really provided me with the escape that I needed when I left.
I really mean it, and I really feel it when I say this is home. I'm not, saying it because we are on camera now or there's a mic. If you come to my house and we're sitting and there is nobody there, I'm going to tell you the same thing. This is why I'm comfortable, by the way, anywhere I go, because whatever I say in private, I say it in public, especially about this country. Okay, there is flaws.
Of course, there's a lot of flaws.
But there is nothing without flaws, you know what I mean? Are we able to make it better? Yes. How can we make it better is by getting involved, not by getting enclosed and staying by ourselves. We need to reach out to other people. We need to talk to other people. We need to try to make our voice heard, and sometimes it's going to be tough, but you have to try.
And those are these couple voices that are out there that will help the rest of us.
100%.
Like that old lady that told you we bought two houses because of you. So now you start thinking of, oh, what was the purpose of me being in the U.S. Embassy and there's 15 other people and they only accept me to come here?
Exactly.
And now years later, you're looking at this old lady telling you that you improved her life. And I'm pretty sure like there's so many of these stories that you come across with every single day. You changed my perspective on this. You helped me do this.
Yeah. I didn't know about that grant. Like, for example, so many people, they want to buy houses, and sometimes there's first down payment grants. There's money out there. During COVID, people didn't know, for example, how to get their stimulus checks. So I used to tell them, for example, you need to do 1, 2, 3, and this is how you get it. Even some of them, they used to go to their accountant, and the accountant would be like, oh no, that's not true. It's not. And then when they show them the video, oh, I didn't know that. You know what I mean? So even sometimes now, people, they don't go to the lawyer or to the accounting to ask them. When they see me, they ask me questions about the law, question about taxes and stuff. And I'm like, I know this is general information. It's not a consultation. I'm not allowed to give you a consultation, but I can share my knowledge that I know with you and check with a special person, specialized person, like a lawyer, doctor, whatever the case might be. But what makes me, this, because in media, and that, sometimes you have sleepless nights. Sometimes you have to take away time from your family and your kids. Sometimes it's very stressful. It's very hard. But when you know what you're doing is making a difference in someone's life, is changing someone's life, it motivates you to do more, to give more. Because if the money is only the goal, you can make money in easier ways, to be honest with you. You maybe even in content creation, if we're going to call it content creation, you can dance if you want and make money in content creation. You can probably make some jokes. You can do some other stuff. But I decided to do news, media, resources, information, because I know this is gonna add value to the community. This is gonna help them to know what's going on around them. Even older people, now they're able to make a conversation with their kids. And I was in New Jersey, and one old lady, she came up to me and she's like, Hussein, back in the days, my kids used to watch the news in English, and I'm sitting there, I don't know what the language is. She's talking to me in Arabic. And I cannot talk to them about, what they're watching. But now I know what's going on because of you. So I can tell them, for example, there is a storm coming to our city. So what she's like, I told them there is a storm coming and we're going to have snow. And they asked her, oh, how did you know that? She's like, Hussein said so. You know what I mean? So she's able like to integrate with the community, know what's going on around them, even make a conversation with your kids, because now you know what's going on in the US, because your kids that are born here, they're not interested to know what's going on in Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, you know. They want to know if there is something big going on, if there is a war or something, but the day-to-day stuff they don't want to know. So now, because you know the day-to-day stuff in the US, you're even able to make conversations with your kids.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know?
You mentioned right before we started, right before we pressed record, you mentioned that you have 7 phones.
Yeah.
Are you tired?
Yeah, I am. Sometimes I put them, all of them, on Do Not Disturb.
Why do you have 7 phones?
We use some of them for filming. When we go live, we want more than one angle. One of the softwares, 2 of the softwares that we use, they work with iPhones. So 3 of those 7 are basically camera. We use them mainly for camera. But like 4, sometimes 5 are phones like with numbers. Because sometimes I need to go live. Sometimes we need to get a hotspot. I have my personal numbers. Then we have 3 numbers for WhatsApp media. Yeah. And people in the US, I don't know how they got my number. So sometimes I get calls 3 a.m., 2 a.m., 4 a.m. People, they face issues and trouble, and they want your opinion, they want your help. Sometimes you're able to respond, sometimes you're not able. But having 7 phones is not a good thing, صراحة. Just so you know, it's frustrating sometimes.
So you are tired?
Yeah, definitely, man. So I try to keep, like, you'll see 2 to 3 phones with me, on me, at any given time. But it's tough. It's very tough.
Where do you see Whatsup Media in the next 10 years?
I always say I want to improve it more. I want to grow it more. I want to make it better.
But what does that mean in reality?
In reality, like they always tell me, you know, make it as a TV, make it as a TV. I always hear it, even now when I was in New Jersey, make it as a TV, Hussein. You know, you have the audience, now you have the money, make it as a TV. But always my response is whoever have a conventional TV right now, they're going towards social media and web TV.
That's not the way.
That's not where, you know. So for me, I think we were the first to go with that trend of web TVs, because back in 2017, all of it was conventional media. So I think web TV is the way where we stay. If we want to maybe make it, I had this idea last year, but we were studying it, you know, legality and stuff, is maybe doing like a 24/7. Where you can watch it on Roku TV, on
like stream it.
Amazon's.
You stream it.
You can stream, you know what I mean? Maybe that could be one of the steps.
Yeah.
It is one of our 5 years.
That's cool.
Goal.
Yeah.
That is one of the 5 years goals that we have, because we
Okay.
have, like, I always put goals, short-term goals, long-term goals, in terms of advertisement, in terms of how we're going to grow things, in terms of team. For example, one of the goals we had is we wanted to remodel our studio, and we're doing that. We're doing this now, like this year. We're revamping our entire studio, making new sets. I always try to improve the quality of the video, the quality of the audio, quality of your broadcast. So one of the 5 years goals, and we started on it last year. Actually, we did research. We started, you know, doing stuff, because we always have to have a plan. Is streaming.
Yeah.
But there is so much legalities on it. You have to be careful. In the US, it's different from anywhere and I was talking to you about it. You have to be careful with copyrighted stuff. You have to be careful with any picture that you use, any video that you use. You have to make sure you paid for the license. If you don't have the license, anybody can sue you.
All right. One more question. If I bring a camera right now and I turn it on and I tell you, after you walk through that door, you disappear forever. Record your last message to the world. What would that message be?
Oof. Oh, what a question, man. Oof. My message will be, I hope that I added something to you. I hope that I served my purpose that I was created for. Because I believe each one of us was created for a purpose by our God. And we are the servants of our God. And everyone has a mission on this earth. I just hope and I wish that I delivered on the mission that I was created for.
Wow. Inshallah you...
Ya Rab.
Ya Rab.
Ya Rab.
Thank you, Hussein. This was a delightful conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Inshallah, we'll do it again.
Ya Rab. I enjoyed it, and thank you for having me again. I wish you the best of luck because you really deserve it.
Habibi,
Topics
thank you so
that you
much.
talk and the people that you have and the things that you talk about, it's much needed. And continue, inshallah, much more success to you, inshallah.
Thank you so much.